Welcome back here to Titans Talk. Titans a winner yesterday, 27-21 over the Bears in Chicago. They're now 6-6, headed into their bye week in Week 13, one of the latest byes you can possibly have. They'll be back at it a week from Sunday, December the 11th, against the Broncos over at Nissan Stadium. Noon. Try to get above 500 for the first time this late in the season in a long, long time. Mike Mularkey was making the joke since he's been in Tennessee. The only time he's ever been above 500 was when they won the opener each of the past 2 years. Even this season, they didn't do that. So the Titans trying to get above 500 in December, which would be a huge stride against a team that is the defending Super Bowl champions. Then it's off to Kansas City and Jacksonville Christmas Eve before wrapping up the season against the Texans the final week. Phone line still open, 737-7767 is the number. Let's go to line one and Tony. Tony, good evening. Hey, Tony, are you with me?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Go ahead, you're on the line.
All right, I've been a Titans fan for a long time. And one thing I've learned, especially from it, we really have improved from last year to this year. And one of the things that I've learned, we really need to, I would say, sorry, I can't really get my words out, improve our secondary. And I'm not talking about just the trade. I'm talking about what we did last year. We need to wipe everyone out, though. It's getting to a point now that if we don't get above 500 this year, everybody's gonna turn up. So that's one of my concerns. Like I said before, everybody here has been a good Titans fan ever since 1990. I mean, we won a championship, and that's what people want. And I feel like over the course of years, players just come to Tennessee just to sort of get money instead of actually play on the field. And that's what I've been getting. So instead of, how can I put it? Instead of actually playing, though, they doing it more so for the money. So one thing that I'm saying is that if you come to Tennessee, you come to win, straight up. We tighten up. We all already there. We're trying to get this championship, though. They clowning us out here. ESPN, NFL Network, all these little extra shows, though, they won't even show a Titans highlight, though, on the internet. I go all the time. Even across the state, though, they're clowning us. They're making us look irrelevant, though. So in order for us to do that, it got to start with this team right here.
Yeah, Tony, I hear you, and I think it is. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I think it is changing. I think if you go to those networks now, you see a different tone and tenor from those guys. I didn't really watch ESPN all day today because I was traveling back from Chicago, but I happened to flip it on as I was getting ready at home to come into work, and the segment I saw of SportsCenter was Mark Dominic, former Bucs GM, and Herm Edwards sitting there, and they were talking about Marcus Mariota and how good he's been, that he's a proven leader. That some people wondered if he could translate to that in the NFL. Some people wondered if he could be a strong quarterback and the great passing arm that he's proven to be. They talked about how great he was and that he's making this team a playoff caliber team right now and that he's going to be good for a really long time. I think the message and the tone about the Titans is changing. I think they've changed the culture. If there was ever a case of guys coming not looking to win or just looking for a paycheck, I don't think you're going to find it in this locker room. I'm there every day. This is not a locker room of prima donnas. There are a lot of professionals in that locker room. And these guys are all about winning. They haven't done it all the time. But this team this year is about doing the right things to win. Now the question is, can they get over the hump and actually do it, and do it consistently and get to the playoffs? The secondary is a big concern. No question about it. But at the end of the day, I think the concerns are about talent. It's not about effort. It's not about want to. It's not about desire. It's not about any of that stuff. It is about talent. And John Robinson did an incredible job in the offseason of upgrading the talent across the board on this team. I mean, you're talking about one of the worst offensive lines in football last year, now one of the best offensive lines. You're talking about a receiving core that was dreadful. Now you've got a guy in Rashard Matthews who's got a touchdown in 7 of the last 8 games. You're talking about a running back tandem that just did nothing the past few years. Now DeMarco Murray's been one of the most valuable running backs in football, and Derrick Henry showed again yesterday that when called upon, he can get you yards. Defensively, this has been a pass rushing beast this year from this team. Wasn't the case a year ago. Where he could make upgrades, he did. Where this team could get better, they did. There are still holes, and the secondary is the biggest one that will have to be addressed. But to me, it is a talent issue. It is not desire or anything else. Let's go to Lester. Lester, good evening. You're next up here on Titans Talk.
That's good. That's good. Man, we see you, okay, and we see you sitting there on TV and you expressing your opinion about, where the Titans are, and what's happening with the Titans. You understand? But us looking at you, we see that you're a winner. And what you are doing is you're bringing about concepts of maybe what we need to do. We could do this better. We could do that better. You understand? When you really need to go directly to your heart. And if you go directly to your heart, you know that the Titans are going to win the Super Bowl. You know that.
This year?
Don't express that.
You think they're going to win it this year?
This year.
Okay.
They're going to win it this year. But we looking at you. I see you smile, but see, we looking at you, and you not displaying the confidence that we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And if you want something to relate it to that locker room when you go in that locker room. When you go in that locker room, you actually see that we're going to win. You actually do. So, take control. Stick it out there. Take it to the top. It's not but one way to win. And right now, you have a whole team of people, a whole team now, that's a winner. Now, we need you to pump it up a little bit, you understand, and put the word on our head and give the rest of them people some confidence where we can move on to where we want to go. And that's all I had to say.
Well, Lester, I appreciate your confidence. And look, for the city of Nashville, for all of us, it would be fantastic if they could do it. It would be fantastic if they do it sooner rather than later. I think we'd all love to see a Super Bowl title here in the city of Nashville. I think my number one job, though, is to be as honest as possible of what I see, what I think they need to correct, what I think they do well. And I hope I get that across. I look at a team right now that has made tremendous strides. I look at a team right now that I personally believe that the Titans are the best team in the AFC South. I also believe that they let a couple massive opportunities against Indianapolis this year slip by. And at the end of the year, that might cost them because that happened. They lost a game in Houston that was a winnable game that might cost them at the end of the year. They don't have much margin for error here. And what we've seen so far this year is this is a team that wins, and then they lose. And then they win, and then they lose. They have not gotten the consistency. They've won 2 consecutive games all year. They've also lost 2 consecutive games one time all year. This has been a win-lose proposition, and that doesn't get you to the playoffs. I think Marcus Mariota is the best quarterback right now in terms of weapons around him and what he can do in the AFC South. Andrew Luck doesn't have enough around him to be put next to Mariota right now. So to me, the Titans have the best offense in the AFC South. They have one of the better pass rushes right next to the Texans in the AFC South. But they also have some weaknesses, like the secondary, that they're going to have to overcome to play better than average football in December. I think they can do it. I'd love to see them do it. But they're going to have to do something that they haven't done yet. They're going to have to prove it to all of us that they can get over that hump. Huge progress this year. Absolutely huge progress. It deserves to be commended. To go from 2 wins to 3 wins to now this point where they're 6-6 and in the mix. But they got to take it to another level to get to the playoffs this year. They do that, I will be a believer right there with you, Lester. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up after this.